What's up, guys? Connor here, back with another episode, working on the Celica. Super excited for this one. Let's just get right into it. Alright guys, so in the bay of the Celica, as always, working on this. In the last episode, we took off the intake manifold and that was 5 bolts. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. We took that out and we put it down over here. Now, on the 2ZZ Celicas, they use a metal gasket right here. This gasket is reusable. With these metal ones, you can clean them off, you can take the gunk off of them, and you can reuse them. On the 1ZZ, they use a rubber style one. Now, that 1ZZ can be reused if it doesn't have a lot of life on it. So lower mileage 1ZZs, which are very rare nowadays, they can actually reuse them if the gasket is okay. But I recommend for the 1ZZs, if you are taking anything off, just go buy a gasket. The 2ZZs are metal, so we're okay on that. I've cleaned mine. Like I said before, this car has 50,000 miles on it, so we're good to use it. So the first thing we're going to do in this episode now is we're actually going to bolt up the supercharger, which is right here. Now, I kind of went through in the last episode and polished this up a little bit to my liking. I got it clean to where I want it to. So we're good on that end. We have this rag covering up the head that we polished last time. So we're going to go ahead and mount up the supercharger. This is our oil dipstick, and it actually has a bracket that needs to get installed as well, but we're going to do that when the supercharger goes on. So we're going to tuck that away back in here, make enough room. Now, this is going to come up here, and we're going to build enough room to put this in. The first thing about it is this line right here is going to be troublesome. I know that there is some trouble with this line. I test fitted the supercharger earlier. So what ends up happening is I didn't get it on all the way because we had some issues, if you remember, in the last episode. This line needs to get pulled, and it's very easy to do one person, but it's very hard to film while doing it. So if you're doing this at home, you need to put your supercharger on these studs, angled, and pull this line a little bit, enough to get a little bit of clearance. If you can see that, it comes a little bit back, and that will allow you to slide the supercharger in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the supercharger bolted up for hopefully the last time, and we're gonna get this thing started. Oh man, all right guys, so we have our supercharger installed. Now, I ran into problems on the last one, like I told you guys about the bolts, but we tracked those down, we're all good now. So, as you can see, I pulled back this line right here, if you can see down in there, and that allowed the supercharger to sit down in there and actually press up against this gasket. So we have a tight seal back here. When we put on our bolts, we're gonna be all good. Now, over on this side, we ran that boost gauge line, so you need to tuck your hoses back in here, right here. You need to make sure that when you install them, they don't get wrapped up and they leave you enough clearance to kind of set them. These foam pads in the engine bay are like noise dampening pads, and so you want to make sure that they're not getting cut off here with your boost line or anything like that. So I have mine 2 out here, and they're going to tuck down just like that. So we'll run that boost gauge line like this and connect those over in like that area. So everything's going to be tucked out. We'll have enough room for the intake. So what we're going to do now is actually, it's pretty exciting. We have our supercharger in. What we're going to do is we're going to bolt it up. I have some extended studs, and we're going to bolt this thing up and get it all secured. I'm going to make sure that's secure, and I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Okay guys, so forgot to do something that was pretty silly on my part, but we need to remove these head studs that are in here on this intake manifold, because when the supercharger goes in, it doesn't actually utilize these. So what we're going to use is something called a monkey wrench. You can pick these up anywhere. Basically, these have reverse teeth on them, so you can see how they kind of they alternate, and one of them is forward facing and the other is reverse facing, as you can see. So as you turn it, it actually tightens itself up. So what you do is either, if you have a torch, which I don't recommend, or a heat gun like I do, heat up that bolt for about 30 seconds is all I did, and you want to grab it like this and just start rotating. You're going to feel this thing grab, and it'll actually break loose as you go, and that'll allow you to remove this. So we need to remove this one because it's way too long for what we're using. On the old manifold, there is actually a huge part where it comes all the way through. It's that bolt right there, and it comes all the way down. On our new component, it's actually just this part, so we don't need it. And so that's going to be how you take off those studs. Real quick, we'll get back to it and we'll install it back in. All right, so here we are with the alternator outside of the bay. Before we install it, we need to attach the upper alternator bracket, which is here. It's just this curved bracket that's going to go up on top of here, and it's going to hold that alternator out. One of the things that we're missing is that lower alternator bracket, but it's okay. It's going to sit there and we're going to have somebody mock it up when we do make it, so it will attach in. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the OEM bolt, which comes in handy when you label your parts. So here's our alternator part bag. We're going to be using the smaller one, and we're going to attach this bracket to the top here. Okay guys, so quick update, this upper alternator bracket is in, we have it secure here. This is a custom bolt that Connor had sent me up when he ran it on his kit, and this just attaches in. So this is how we're gonna mount our alternator here, minus the lower bracket, but we're okay on that, like I said before. So a little update on where the car is at. The supercharger is in. We have it all bolted up. We are missing a few bolts here. This head stud, as I showed, I never took out. I was gonna run like just a nut on the end of that, but I'm not going to. I'm actually gonna take that nut out, sorry, that head stud out, and I'm actually gonna run full bolts just like this right here. I have the right size, so I need to replace all these ones. I'm gonna go to the hard store and do that today, off camera of course. But the supercharger is in. The one thing that we ran into, which was kind of unfortunate, is that as I was moving this to give some room for the alternator to fit in, I actually adjusted this hose just enough on this side to break this open. So as you can see, this condenser is messed up. So now there's a little hold on this because I do need to order a new condenser for the AC and recharge the whole system. I debated deleting out the AC during this project, but no, that's not gonna happen. I drive this car a lot in the summer and I want it to be comfortable, so we're gonna keep the whole system for the AC down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna buy one of these hoses that you can kind of navigate yourself. So this will be okay. We can actually run this one just like this, but we need to get a plug that comes into our condenser over here. On these two ZZs, they're actually just metal back in here. So this is like a metal line that you can actually bend, but it will break eventually. So what I need to do is I need to get a end cap that has just, you know, one of these sealant rings, just like that with the O-ring, and has a flexible tube that can hold the pressure of this. And we're gonna run that back and we're gonna install it here. So I'm gonna get those parts ordered. I'm gonna go get these bolts. The video is gonna end here for now on this part. Not as much as I wanted to get done today, but that's okay. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to keep following this project. And I thank you guys and love you guys for watching this thing. See ya.